What's up, my friends? It is Mr. Gallows, of course, and welcome back to the Sith Relic Room. Well, guys, I know we haven't been down here in quite some time. It's been a long while now. But you know, with all of the brand new Star Wars material coming out now, I think I'm going to be spending a considerable amount of time down here. But anyway, for today's Star Wars theory, we're going to be talking about quite an interesting topic, and that is Palpatine's definite return in Episode 9. But here's my question. How deep does the dark side rabbit hole go? And how is Rey connected to all of this? Now that we know Palpatine will be returning in some way, we have to believe that he must be heavily connected to the story. Luke's now famous line, "No one's ever really gone," was said once more before Palpatine's wicked laugh, and I think that means major revelations from the past are coming. But how exactly does Palpatine connect to everything? And how deep does this theory really go? In a couple of recent Star Wars news articles, they pointed out that in an issue of a Darth Vader comic, Disney officially made Palpatine's creation of Anakin Skywalker canon. That means that Palpatine does in fact know how to create life by manipulating the Force. But how? How did he learn this? Why is he able to do this now? Well, this is where the theory gets really interesting, because another familiar name comes back into the mix once again: Darth Plagueis. Now, of course, we all know the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, but the most fascinating aspect about him is that he was the first to accomplish this unnatural ability. So from clues we can gather in Episode 3, we can obviously determine that Palpatine learned how to do this as well, and used it to his advantage. But was it just simply Palpatine? Or, as I'm suggesting in this theory, does Plagueis live on through Palpatine? In Claudia Gray's book Master and Apprentice, there is a section where Qui-Gon and then Jedi Master Dooku are studying holocrons to gather information and knowledge. Interestingly, one of these holocrons contained a very important and focused message, which stated, "He who learns to conquer death will through his greatest student live again." So, what if Plagueis is in fact very much alive, just living through his students? What this could mean is that when Plagueis was killed, he lived on through Sidious. Then Sidious dies and he and Plagueis lived on through Snoke. Again, this could be a reason that Snoke is so deformed. And now that Snoke is dead, all three of them live on through Kylo Ren. So now we can begin to see just how powerful Plagueis has become, because remember how powerful Obi-Wan became when he passed on into the Force. Now imagine going through the process of Force death 3 times, becoming more powerful each time. And keep in mind that these actions perfectly reflect the rule of 2. Remember that all of these deaths were supposed to happen. The apprentice must kill the master. So it's not as if it's random activity, even though it seems like it. Once again, this backs up the claim that Plagueis has been pulling the strings behind the scenes all this time, because he has discovered a way to become more powerful with each death. So how does Rey come into all of this? Because obviously she's a very important character to the story of the Skywalkers, not only because of her possible family relations, but also because the mantle has been passed on to her. But with the total loss of all Jedi and Sith, a new order must be created, and this new order is basically up for grabs. If Luke can't properly guide Rey, she could be tempted by something she finds possibly related to Palpatine and of course Plagueis, and this would turn the new order dark. But why would Rey be tempted in the first place? Well, everyone is trying to figure out who she is related to, but I think the more important question is, how was she born? Because if Plagueis is so powerful that he can manipulate the Force beyond the grave, who's to say that he needs an actual human avatar to perform these abilities? I mean, Snoke could have created Rey, but is it possible that Plagueis could just simply manifest life inside of a human and then control that human? Now Rey's story begins to make a little more sense. She was born to random junk dealers after all. They just discovered who she was and abandoned her on Jakku. And Plagueis obviously loved this aspect of her life, because growing up as a savage on Jakku, that was a perfect dark side training ground for her. But this time around, Plagueis altered his plans. This time, he chose a female. Did you guys ever notice something interesting about the canon Sith apprentices? They're all male. Even the passage from the holocron states live on through his master. Well, what if Plagueis recognized this as a flaw? Could a female human be more powerful and more stable to control? Was this the fatal mistake he kept making? And now that Rey is fully awakened, she is being led to the dark side, or her ultimate destiny. Now we can start to see all of the pieces coming together. And this could be a reason why the Episode 9 filmmakers and crew are calling this the perfect end to the Star Wars and Skywalker saga, because it literally ties everything together. The expanded universe, the prequels, the original trilogy, and events in these new movies will all fall perfectly into place for one epic ending, possibly involving some kind of confrontation between the very alive Force spirits of Plagueis, Sidious, Luke, Snoke, and even Anakin Skywalker. And in the middle of all of the chaos, Kylo and Rey will once again have to carve their own path. They will have to decide who and what they are fighting for, with Rey being tempted by the dark and Kylo being tempted by the light. A real, true battle of the fates. And all the while, Plagueis could be watching from the shadows, waiting to see which student will become the most powerful apprentice. So, what do all of you think? Is all of this possible, or do you think it's a bit too far-fetched for Disney? Now it's time for you guys to leave all of your thoughts, opinions, and your theories down below in the Great White Void. And as always, until next we meet, stay in a galaxy far, far away.